Hi, today I'm going to show you how to navigate through Nifi UI. So in my previous video, I have demonstrated how to install and log into Nifi via Docker. So you can refer to that video. So once we have done that, we can come to the browser and you can access this port, localhost 8443/Nifi, and you will log into this page. Here, I logged in with admin role. So we can see here and we can um, log out and log in with other user if needed, as per needed. So let's navigate through the Nifi UI. So the main components of Nifi UI, if you see here, is the processor. You can drag top. There are 359 processor at this moment available, and these are all tagged with different tag names so that you can filter them easily. For example, if I want to operate on file, these are the processes that are available regarding with the tag file. For example, it's attribute to CSV or get file, put file, fetch file, list files. These are the processes that are related to file tag. Similarly, you can also filter these via here. For example, if you want Amazon related processes, you can click over here and it will show all the Amazon related. For example, put DynamoDB, item get DynamoDB, and list S3 and then put S3, whatever it is. So in Nifi, a processor is the main component which do the actual work of pulling, transforming, or extracting the data. We can perform all these via processor. So you have to use the appropriate processor for doing your work. Right now, in this demo, I'm gonna use the basic processor that will generate a flow file. We can see this down the lane. Next, move to the input port, output port. Before explaining input port, output port, I'm skipping to processor group. In processor group, we can combine a group of processors. I mean, 5 to 10 or more processors together in a group so that the functionality of that uh, processor group can be started and stopped, and segregation of the functionality can be made in this manner. So right now, the default UI will be with Nifi Flow process group. This is a process group. And if I drag and drop a process here, it will go into the default Nifi's processor group called Nifi Flow. I will create a new process group before we work on any processors. And the next one is remote process group. The remote process group will help to move data from other Nifi instance to this Nifi instance and vice versa. So coming back to the input and output port, let me explain a concept called connections. If you want to move data from one process to other processor, we need a thing called connection, right? Similarly, if we want to move flow files from one processor group to another process group, we need input port and output port. So let me explain with an example, quick example, and then you will get it. And then funnel is something we can segregate. I mean, you can combine multiple incomings to one outcome. So we're going to use this for taking multiple inputs and diverting it to one output or multiple outputs, just like regular funnel. And then templates is the flow which we develop on this canvas can be exported and can be imported to another Nifi via templates. We created a template based upon the current flow, and then that can be imported directly into the other Nifi instance. This can be used for backup purpose as well. if at all anything happens to our instances, we can simply import these templates, and then we will get that along with the other backups. This will be flow backup of the flow will be handy. Label is just a description. We can add a description to our flow, data flow, to a process group or process. We can do that. So let's start with some examples, and we will get to see how this works together. Also, if you see a 3 bars here, if you click here, it will show you the summary, which means how many processes are there in your Nifi UI, how many input ports are present, output ports, process groups, connections, and process groups. So these are all the things which we discussed, and this will show the summary, how many of them are present in the current Nifi. And also, if you click on the counters, it will show how many files it has been processed, how many flow files it has been processed. For example, in this case, with my earlier work, the generate record processor, which is processor ID, has been generated these many values. I can reset by clicking and then reset the counter. It will go to 0. So this is how the counters will work. And then the bulletin board is something that the error messages can be shown. Even the error message or warns can be shown here. It will be auto refresh for every 5 seconds. And we can manually also refresh it. So that can be done here. And the controller settings, there are many controller services that need to be set in Nifi. We can discuss down the lane in this tutorial about this management control services, report task, registry clients, and parameter providers. We can discuss those things later. Also, parameter contexts. Parameter context are something the variables that can be used across multiple process and process groups can be defined here, and these can be referred over there. Right now, I do have one context parameters. It's MariaDB_PC. And if I edit this, I named a variable called table name as employee. So I can add a few more. For example, database name, and then I can mention it as default, apply. So that can be done, and then apply. So these parameters can be referred in future in our process groups. So that's how we do it. And then flow file configuration history. If I click this, along with the dates, I have done all these things in my Nifi. Yesterday, I have used all these processors, right? And then today I created this MariaDB PC. I just now edited this one. So everything will be recorded here. That's the history, flow configuration history, and then a node status history. Right now I do have only one node, and then you can get various monitoring metrics out of this. Either it can be heap or open files kind of stuff. If it is a cluster, we can get all the nodes here. Similarly, as I discussed, templates, the same symbol which we have seen here. Currently, this instance, Nifi instance, doesn't have any templates. We will create one in next. Also, the help, which will show the usage of all the processes and the documentation. So we can refer this from here. And the about section will show you the current version of the Nifi, which is 1.2.6. So let's start with a quick a demo, which depicts all these, which shows all these concepts that we have taught. So let's start with a label. Let's pull a label. Before the label, let's create a new process group and name it as first process group or some reasonable label name, demo process group. Added it. If you see here, it went to the demo process group, which is also a process group, and all our controls are there. And if you want to come out of it, if you want to go into it, you have to click this one. Now you see here a navigation button here, and Nifi flow. And on Nifi flow, we are into a process group demo underscore PG. So here I can pull so we used this component process group. Now let's pull a label. Label is just a description. I'm gonna increase this one. My first demo. Okay. So on this label, I'm gonna pull one processor here. The processor is called generate flow file. If you type generate, okay, I just selected Amazon filter. After removing it, generate flow file, which randomly generate a flow file. And if you, this is a processor, and if we can configure the processor, you will see a warning symbol here. You have to address all these warnings in order to get into a normal state. For example, right now, this doesn't have a relationship success. What happens when it is success? If I generate a flow file, where do I need to navigate to? Do I need to terminate, or do I need to hand over this flow file to the next processor? And pull one more processor, log message. So what this does is just logging of that message that is generated by the flow file. Okay. And in order to connect these two things, the connections will be helpful. If you see, hover on this, the arrow mark symbol over here, drag and drop on this, and it will says from flow file generator to log message, we are connecting. This is called a connection. So right now we don't see a warning symbol here. It's in stop state, stop symbol. And here we see the warning symbol again. Again, it says the relationship success is invalid. Okay, configure. And then go to the relationships. And then if it is successful, then just terminate it. Or you can even try, select retry when it is failed. But right now, it's if successful, we can terminate it. So this is our flow now. So we used a label. We created a process group called demo PG, and then we used the label my first demo to describe this. And we pulled two processes. One is generate flow file, and the other is log message. And we have connected these processes with one connection. Also, we can name this stuff, connecting generate flow file to log message says. And we can also rename these things. Just changing it to my generate flow file to my log file, log message. So right now it's going to my generate flow file to my log message via the connection GFF to log message. And if we stop this process and then start this process, so it generated one output and it received one. If I stop this, let's refresh, stop, and run once. So it created one more flow file and it is in queue because this is in stop state. So it couldn't receive it. So it is in queue. If you inspect this queue with list queue option, we will see this flow file with file name is this one with 0 bytes is generated and it is waiting. And as soon as you start this, it will be pulled by the log message. So that's the total two flow files are generated by generate flow file, and then those two are absorbed by my log message. So this is how the process will communicate, and we can use appropriate process to achieve our goal. And similarly, if you want to connect between two processor groups, then we're going to use input and output. I can show. Let's stop this and then delete this one. Delete this one. If I want this processor group to communicate, send data to another process group instead of instead of terminating on the end, what we can do is we can drag an output here. Here we can say output port of demo PG process group, demo PG, and then connect to it. And then come out of this process group. We can decrease the size here, drag it here. Take another process group, which can be named of destination, demo destination. PG, right? And then go into this, drag the process log message here, and then drag input port here. And then connect these two things. Fix this relationship. This relationship can be terminated as successful. And then go back. And then from here, if you want to connect from here to here, it will connect through input output ports. The first output is here and the input of that process group here. If you don't mention input and output here, we cannot connect the process groups. Now we can connect the process group. At this moment, you can start the whole process group here. Oh, start. So it generated one flow file. It will be queued here because the whole process, second process group, destination process group is stopped. And as soon as you start this, it is cleared here, and then you can see the in bytes in the next process group. So we have connected two process groups, which with input and output ports. So we have seen processors, usage of processors, usage of input output ports, process groups. Remote process group is something that we can connect from other Nifi instances and a funnel. So let me make this whole as a template. Create template, name, my first template. It's successfully created. And let's see the summary now. If I click on summary, how many, this says that we have two processors in our Nifi flow. One is log message, one is generate flow file, which belongs to the process groups. First, it belongs to demo PZ and then demo destination PZ. Both are in running states, and input ports, we have one input port, we have one output port. We have 0 remote process group. We have connections, 3. One is to input, one is to output, and one is to success in the output. And then the process groups, we have 3 process group. Nifi flow is the default one, and then Nifi demo PG and then demo destination PG is the second process group. This is summary that is shown here. Also, we can see the counters. Let me refresh it. Uh, okay, it's not showing the approximate correct one. And let's see the context parameters. We didn't change any, we didn't add any context parameters, not anything, we didn't any. But if we click the templates, we can see the my first template is created and that can be downloaded. So if you see the here, it is my first template.xml is downloaded. And if you view it, you will see all the details here of input port, output port, and then all the processor groups, processors that are available in the processor groups. What I can do now is I can delete this one. Let me stop it first. Empty all queues. If any queues are present, any messages in the queue are present, delete. First delete the link. Well, this we have to stop this as well. Delete it. Oh, here it is running. So I can upload a template, search for the template, my first template, upload it. And since it's already has, okay, I already created template in the same instance. If it is new instance, it will be created here. Right now, we have already have the template. And then add this template, we will get all the flow that we defined. And that's how we can back up the existing flows of an Nifi instance. I hope this is helpful. In next videos, we're going to continue with our next concepts. Thank you. Have a great day.